Hi there, it's Jim from Country Contacts, hobby beekeeper from Queanbeyan, New South Wales, Australia. And today I want to talk a little bit about hive traps. This is one of my very first hive traps, and I figure if you're going to make something, you may as well make it so it looks kind of cute. I'll show you some other ones in a minute that I've made, but this was one of my first successes. I picked it up at the Lucky Shop, what we call the Lucky Shop, the tip. And it had in it a violin. I think it's come from the UK. And it worked a treat. I had this up in a tree in the nearby suburb and caught a swarm the first time that I set it up. I've got an entrance hole here which we'll show you later. Now, the reason it's sort of here is because I'm always experimenting, and you'll get used to that. People like to do the same thing all the time. People do weird things. I guess I do some weird things too. I tried to get them to go from here down to a normal Langstroth hive. So I put a hole in the bottom of this box, holding that fibre lid, and I'm forcing them to go in and out here. I don't know yet whether they have colonised this or they're just using it as an interest way. That will be another episode, because they can't be, they must be jam-packed in here now because they've been in there for 3 years. So that'll be fun. We'll do that another day. I think it's this side I can pull off, and then it'll be a lot easier than the couch job, I can tell you. We'll save the comb and we'll get rid of, well, this will return to a swarm box. But that's about all I've got to say about this particular one. We'll move over to another one. For any overseas viewers, this is what we call an apple box. You've got this Bridgestania. Lovely old tree. Their wood isn't much good for anything, but they're just a lovely feature tree. This one would probably be 80 or 90 years old. We're going through a drought here at the moment. It doesn't seem to affect these fellas. They just hang on and they just have so much character. I just love them. We'll wander over now and look at another swarm trap. On the way I'll just show you another tree. Another Australian native. Also does well in rocky knobs like this. It's a Kurrajong. Kurrajong is its common name. Brachychiton populum. Home to lots of little critters. Little bell-shaped flowers this time of the year, and later on we'll have big brown pods. Timber's not much use for anything, but the Aboriginals do lots of things with the fibre and so forth. One of my favourite trees. But I'm getting sidetracked. We're going over here. So this is one of my swarm traps, and this is sort of what I've settled on as what I reckon is ideal. And I really thought that they would swarm this year, but they must be so happy there they didn't swarm. I thought if they swarmed, and they're a little west of where I am, and the prevailing winds here in Australia come from the west, they would normally drift here, and I thought that they would come in here. Anyway, they didn't swarm, but let's see if next year. This is kind of ideal, I reckon, for a swarm trap. And I've got some props here. I've just made that out of junk. Now, I've got a contact with a glazier, and glass comes from overseas, sort of this way, and these are the end caps that they put around the glass. Lots of rubber and bracing, and that's how A lot of our glass comes from overseas. I've found if you get 2 of these, that one, another one the same size, and strap them together, working on a hill, it's always going to be difficult. Strap them together this way, so 2 together. Initially I used to put a frame of honeycomb in there. I don't anymore, because they just make a big mess. So what I do now, it's just not essential. What I do now, I just get some old comb, if you can imagine, before I put it together. Get some old comb and I just rub it over all the surfaces, like so. And you might think I'm not leaving much, but bees have a very fine sense of smell, and that will attract them. The other little trick, and it's not my trick, it's fairly common known, lemongrass oil. It's a little bit knocked around, and one I prepared earlier, cotton bud. I think the Yanks call it something different. A little bit of that on the chest. Maybe come around here. Smear a bit of lemongrass oil around there. Put a bit more in and throw the whole thing in there. And that's about all I do. And hope for the best. Another lesson I learned was, and it's common sense, put it where you think the bees are going to be. I put one out on a farm where there's not many bees, put it in a good spot, and it's been there for 2 years and nothing's happened. So it's just common sense. Put it where you think the bees are going to be, you know, maybe next to an apiary or something like that. Now, in another adventure, another episode, you'll see one just like this in a Canberra suburb, and we're going to break it open, and I'll show you how they've been there for now 2 months, those bees, and I'll show you how we get it out of this box and into our hive. All we do basically is cut the straps. May use the vacuum, maybe not, just depends how much comb. But that'll be in a new episode coming up in 2020. So that's about all I've got for you this evening. Thanks very much for watching, and please keep on watching. Thank you.